It is so calm. I think we should do a build. And now the case. Well, this is definitely different. Alright, well that's the easy part done. Wow, alright, so the Tower 500 from Thermaltake, the new Tower series, not as small and not as ITX niche as the Tower 100, not as large and gigantic as the Tower 1000, but something in between. You know what else is something in between? A message from today's video sponsor. The all-new wireless range from XTRFY. The absolutely awesome MZ1 now made wireless to give you a confidence teardrop boost. The M4 wireless is the perfect ergo shape because shape is king, my friends, and the M42 wireless with the asymmetric body for all the grips to shine. All mice charged with USB-C have a swappable back and adjustable weight distribution, are super lightweight, and have 75 hours of battery life. Forget the cable, start gaming. Check out the XTRFY MZ1, the M4, and the M42 wireless below. Whew, so this was both really fun and challenging in some aspects because this is the first build I'm doing in this type of vending machine type of enclosure, the new Tower 500 from Thermaltake. And it's meant to accommodate some air cooling, some water cooling, some AIO compatibility, tons of hardware support, and etc. So let's check it out, shall we? It certainly does not fall into the conventional PC case category because of this vending machine look, because of the panoramic 3-side tempered glass view, so you can admire your hardware from basically all the angles. What really surprised me is Thermaltake's easy access approach. It's so much easier to work in than the Tower 100 because once you remove the glass panels, you have basically access to all your components and hardware in the motherboard chamber from all 3 sides without any restriction based on the frame. As for the interior, Thermaltake calls it a space-efficient design. Obviously, that's not necessarily entirely the case because this mid-tower is fairly large, so if you're not populating an eATX motherboard, dual GPUs, a massive pump, and a bunch of radiators inside, then you might have some room wasted. But on the other hand, if you love to give your components some breathing room, the Tower 500 accommodates that perfectly. In terms of cooling compatibility, CPU tower heatsinks are not a problem at all because we have so much available height inside the enclosure. As for radiators, you can do a 240 or a 280 up top. You can do a 360 on the right or the left side. Right now, I have it installed on the case's right side, and you can easily relocate that to the other side. For example, if you're doing like a custom loop for either the GPU or the CPU, and depending on where your tubes go. And you can also do a 240 at the front or at the very bottom in front of the power supply. Up to 11 fans can be installed if you're going for some extreme air cooling, and 2 fans are included at the back. Both are 120 millimeters and both are set to exhaust. And of course, every single ventilated area is dust proof with these fine dust filters. Nicely done. In terms of the build that we have assembled here, it's nothing crazy, but it's exactly what the Tower 500 kind of aims to target, right? We have a nice RTX 3070 in vertical orientation. I did also install an exhaust fan up top just to help with the additional ventilation cooling, especially for the GPU. At the bottom, I've installed 2 additional intake fans to both highlight how gorgeous the quad ring illumination is. Aside from the slightly finicky RGB customization in the software, once you find the right color, they do look beautiful. The 360 all-in-one cooler is installed in its kind of default position right beside the motherboard tray as to not interfere with the looks of the GPU. And I've also installed the optional LCD kit that can be installed on either 3 sides, which is awesome. So you just simply remove one of the small panels that goes right underneath the tempered glass, plug it in, and you can display all types of information on it. It's a pretty cool accessory. The front panel I/O is fully loaded, so 4 USB 3 ports, full speed Gen 2 USB-C, power reset switches, and of course your audio jacks. As for storage, because this is a massive enclosure, you can install up to 8 3.5-inch drives or 8 2.5-inch drives. So you choose and you can kind of mix and match, of course. Everything is installed on the back chamber, sort of behind the motherboard tray where those 2 exhaust fans are. That will definitely help with cooling some of your storage devices. And of course, you can populate some more drives underneath the motherboard right on top of that ventilation area. Now, I honestly did not expect to like the Tower 500 as much as I did in terms of the assembly procedure. I thought it was going to be way more difficult than it was, especially because I am shooting, I am ASMRing, preparing for the next thing, learning the case, working with it for the first time, but it pleasantly surprised me. Everything from the power supply, the motherboard, the GPU, installing the radiator on the side, totally seamless. The only hiccup I encountered was installing the 2 bottom fans, because in order to remove that bracket, you have to remove the ventilation area and like 8 screws. And so that's a little bit more challenging in order to access the front fan bracket at the bottom. But otherwise, everything is pretty straightforward, especially with cable management, because all the included I/O cables are so long, giving you plenty length access and routing things without you having to worry. And also with standard power supply cables, I had no problems reaching any of the places I needed to go. That's nice. So if you've been looking for the Tower series, but the Tower 1000 was too big for you, the Tower 100 was too small and perhaps not ITX friendly, Tower 500, my friends, ATX, eATX motherboards, plenty of GPU supports in there. Go nuts. All right, guys, I'm Dmitry. Hope you enjoyed the ASMR build sequence. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video.